What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mark David Meyer with The Fire, here to share some ideas and take our collective vibration higher. And before we do anything, I want to thank every one of you guys for being subscribed to the channel. There's over 1,000 of you so far. Wow. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I started 2021 with about 100 subscribers, so that's 10 times. I can't thank you guys enough for getting me to this point because I could not do it without you guys. So today is Sunday. It's the 17th, I think. It's the 16th. So tomorrow on Monday, the 17th, we have a full moon in Cancer. And I want to tell you guys generally what this means, what you can expect. And if you stick around for the end of the video, I'll tell you what's going to happen based on your rising sign. So the full moon, as you probably know at this point, because we made quite a few videos on this, it's halfway through the lunar cycle when the sun and the moon are directly opposite in the zodiac wheel. So generally speaking, we're going to be at odds with our solar and lunar awareness. What the fuck does that mean? Because that's really broad and like real Jupiter Pisces of me to say that. So what this means is if you go outside and you look at that moon, it's full of light. The sun is looking like right at it. If you remember what I said, it's an opposite angle. We've got our sun in Capricorn, 27 degrees, moon at 27 degrees Cancer. So they're kind of staring at each other from like down a hallway, okay? So this opposite energy could cause a lot of friction. Regardless of what could happen, we know every single time there's a full moon, energy needs to move around because we're about to start waning and we're about to start going towards the new moon energy. So we'll see that moon in our sky lose light as we go through the rest of the cycle. So generally speaking, emotions are high once we hit the midpoint of the cycle and there's the full illuminated moon in the sky. What this looks like for you in your personal life, it really depends on your ascendant. Like I was talking about, what house is this going to be inside of your chart? So the cool thing about this full moon in Capricorn season is that this is the full moon in Cancer. And personally, in just a matter of opinion, I believe this full moon is going to be one of the most important full moons of the year. Not only because it's the full moon in the home sign of Cancer, we have this moon opposite Pluto, which means our sun is conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So this means transformation or the need for death and rebirth for all of us in some way, shape, or form. You'll probably see this in the realm of your emotions because this is the lunar cycle. But that being said, once you look at the house positions, you may see parts of your life or areas in which you need to transform. So with the sun in astrology representing our ego, our vision, our actions, and our driving force, being on top of Pluto, the planet of our evolution, the higher octave of Mars, power and control, you may be seeing your next level up a little more clearly right now as the sun creeps up on Pluto by degree, right? You might be watching this the day before the full moon. You might be watching this in retrospect, but just saying, when you have the sun conjunct Pluto, this is seeing or acting on your transformation or your fears. The power and control struggles could be something you're consciously aware of, but yet that could be a thing that's disempowering for you if you're not willing to take control over said circumstance. So in addition to this, we have the moon, full moon opposite Pluto, like we were talking about. This is the need to transform because, again, the moon deals with emotions, feelings, kind of opposite the sun. This is your subconscious awareness, the other luminary. So it represents your needs for comfort and security, especially in the sign of Cancer. So this is going to highlight insecurities, fears, certain power dynamics and struggles that you may be aware of that you don't want to experience. These may kind of come up to the surface for you to deal with or at least feel with, if you get the drift, you know? So the moon, generally speaking, because it deals with our water and our feelings, is going to show us how we're reacting. And collectively, we can see this, the transiting moon. So reacting to your insecurities, reacting to your fears, this is the theme of this full moon, okay? So for better or for worse, try to pay attention to these things that are inside of you. And I say this confidently, first of all, because of my Leo Mercury, but second of all, it's like every one of us needs inner security systems to protect ourselves from the world outside of us. So it's important to address your insecurities and not be insecure about having insecurities, because that shit doesn't make sense. So doing the work is challenging, but it's rewarding. You guys get the vibes. So the most optimistic way I could explain the theme of this full moon before we talk about any aspects at all, just the sun conjunct Pluto opposite the moon, is taking authority over your emotions. And that's pretty freaking sweet. Finding more comfort and security after this lunar cycle passes or during it. Allowing the emotions that rise to the surface teach you something very cool. So this could be a little more challenging when we have Mercury retrograde square Uranus and Taurus. So we got Mercury at about 9 degrees Aquarius, and we've got Uranus in Taurus at about 10 degrees. So it's almost a perfect square. So the way I would really explain this to you guys is reorganizing who you associate with on a broad level because of your ideas and your need to find freedom within your own life or change on a fundamental level. You may need to associate with different people, or you may need to conduct yourself differently with the people that you consider your associates already. This could be arguments, a challenge when it comes to expressing how you feel or how you think or how you see things, you know? And again, like I said, reorganizing within your associations. So tension within your mind to express yourself, because Mercury is about thoughts and communication. Aquarius being in a more all-encompassing or rational or constructive way, right? So when we all are experiencing Uranus and Taurus, this 90-degree angle between your Mercury and Uranus, we're all needing to change through fixed Earth, what makes sense, what's stable. And I know this is outer planetary, so we'll leave it at that. But as we can see, a lot of us are finding freedom in our own personal lives, and this may cause some mental conflict with our relationships and partners to other people. So it's important to slow the fuck down when you're speaking to people, and especially trying to articulate your own thoughts even to yourself, because Mercury retrograde is a whole different video. It's just time to slow down, because the mind, Mercury, as above, so below, is going slower. So everything built out of the mind is going to go slower, not to mention your technology, but your communications and conversations with the people that you relate to. You need to make sure that you're understood and articulating yourself in a way that makes sense, but also that you listen so that you give people the chance of being understood also, right? In short, Mercury square Uranus is needing to relieve tension within your mind. So journaling and articulating your own ideas to yourself or like-minded individuals in a way that is slow, concise, and makes sense can help y'all understand and work together better. So in addition to this, Mercury is forming a sextile with Chiron. So these are opportunities to heal a past. Chiron is about our spiritual awakening. It's about, I want to say trauma and suffering, but that's really the chapter 1 of Chiron. It's like, you know, once you really look at what Chiron does in your natal chart and through transit, you'll be able to see that a lot of times, you know, it may manifest as mistakes you're making on your spiritual journey in the quest of gaining consciousness, you know. And if you know, you know, but Chiron is sextile to this retrograde Mercury, okay? So when we have Mercury, the planet of thinking and analyzing and organizing, sextile, making this nice 60-degree angle from Chiron, we can see some things that happen within our past. We might be able to learn about our desires that may have been unhealthy or not conducive to our goals, because this is Chiron in Aries, right? And then Mercury Aquarius. So Aries deals with our vision and our passion and our instincts. So look at the things that you've been doing instinctively, you know. It's time to really reorganize. Not to mention we have Venus retrograde. I mean, it's time to talk about it. Venus retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, very damn close to Pluto. And once it stations direct, it'll make a conjunction again, like we've been talking about. So important to kind of just be aware of it. Venus retrograde is reorganizing values and relationships. Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Libra. So those two things, your values, possessions, relationships with people or the world outside of you. So what this means is, generally speaking, the 40 days of Venus retrograde could feel like not being happy or feeling stuck with what you used to want or appreciate. So your values have to be reorganized. And not to mention, this is Capricorn energy. It's about cardinal earth trying to initiate or organize or structure things in a way that makes sense. So this will be seen in our habits. We're about 27 days through the Venus retrograde. So we got about 2 weeks from the time I post this video, right? Until Venus hits direct and then just goes on her merry way through Capricorn again, right? But you guys have been seeing this energy through the seriousness that we kind of have nowadays. I'd say, like, again, about the last 27 days, this last month has been a little bit more real. I think for everybody, because we all have values and wants and things that we appreciate. You may see the Venus retrograde energy as like the people that you appreciated in the past starting to resurface in your life and hit you back up or reach out or whatever. Maybe old habits are dying hard. It could be things of that nature. So it's organization time, and we still have about 2 weeks to keep it pushing. So that's really important. Venus retrograde is trine Uranus right now. So this is appreciating our freedom, originality, and uniqueness. So it's important to use Mercury and Aquarius to communicate in a way that makes sense and, actually is conducive with what your values are in the first place. Venus retrograde is square Chiron. So this could be a lot of learning opportunities for a lot of people. These may manifest as what you would consider as mistakes again. So learning the mistakes of past values. This may be the desire to repeat old relationship habits. Relationship healing could occur if you are not willing to regress in a certain situation. So that's pretty cool. Healing and value shifts or toxic habits resurfacing, So if you guys have been following my astrology for a little bit, you hear me really push the narrative of taking the judgment out of the astrological narrative, So I'm not going to tell you a square is bad and you should be scared of it. I'm going to tell you it's going to be tension, Chiron and Aries is going to be, us on a spiritual level wanting to follow our desires, okay? And when we talk about Venus retrograde in Capricorn, this is us going about our values and relationships in a way that makes sense to us. So this is you and all of us going after our spiritual aspirations or needs, you could call them, but backing them up with logic and rationality that we can't refute ourselves because it makes sense to us, okay? So some of us by default, circumstance or situation are gonna be repeating old habits, and they might be considered toxic when you're the one to judge them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to judge you. I'm just letting you know what energy is here. So the most optimistic way to see, this square is learning the mistake of your past values. And if you are in a place where your Venus is happy, your relationships are solid, they make sense on your Capricorn energy, and also your spiritual journey is making sense, your Chiron is buzzing. If you know, and if you don't know, watch my other videos about Chiron. You'll know that you're doing the right things and you're responsible, and your reality, your Saturn, your Capricorn energy is on point. So you want to think about that. In addition to this, we got Mars in Sagittarius, 25 degrees. In about 1 week after this full moon, we will have Mars go into Capricorn, okay? So Mars represents fundamentally our instincts and desires. This is feeling free, having a desire to expand or have new experiences with Mars being in Sagittarius, the mutable fire sign. There's a desire to change our vision. So Mars is going to be sesquiquadrate Uranus during this full moon. So this may represent some difficulty expressing your true feelings or feeling restricted by your beliefs, philosophies, or moral systems. So it's important to outsmart your damn mind, and we can leave it at that because I want to talk about you guys' rising signs. In addition, we got Mars squared Neptune, and it's been square at least a week, if I'm not mistaken. So learning not to overindulge in your desires. Neptune is in Pisces, and this is its home. Neptune is all about merging with our spirituality or merging with something in general in the quest for redemption. And this may manifest as some sacrifice or something you might end up suffering for. You might not even know you're sacrificing when you connect to Neptune, because when Neptune is in Pisces, we all go through this transcendental feeling through our own imagination. You know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So the easiest way for you to connect to your Neptune is to connect to your own Venus. And the way that you hit that on the highest octave is going to be through Neptune. Okay? And look at your own natal Neptune and think about it. In the house position, it'll make the most sense to you. So again, 90-degree angle, some tension with Neptune and Pisces wanting us to fuse and merge with our beliefs, imagination, or creativity. Mars and Sag wanting us to act out our philosophies, ideals, morals, or beliefs. Okay, so sometimes this may manifest as you going way too fucking hard, needing to learn how to chill out. Desire to act out your beliefs might be something that you're feeling right now, or feeling the need to sacrifice something. And maybe you see this in the realm of needing to have a new experience, or this might be predicated on your spiritual journey or something like that, but you need to know your limits. because Jupiter, the ruler of Sag, and Neptune don't really give a fuck about limits, you know? So this hard ass 90-degree angle is going to be probably stirring some feelings for us once this moon hits that full point, okay? Because this is the lower octave of Pluto, which the full moon will be opposite. So my best advice for you guys is to chill the fuck out. I'm going to do my best to chill the fuck out as well. Try not to overindulge too, because I know it's MLK Day in America, so you might have the day off and it might be a good time for you to party, but it's time to chill the fuck out because you might feel like pushing your limits or testing or trying something new. Don't make it a bad experience for yourself this full moon, you know? That's really my best advice for you. So, because Neptune does rule like intoxication and inebriation, so I say this gently and warmly from my heart. Just take care of yourself. Be fucking responsible, because when you have a lot of Jupiter, a lot of Neptune within some transit, you're going to need to employ some Saturn in reality and ground your ass so you don't get fucking hurt, you know, so you know thy limits, you know. So again, to recap, Mars square Neptune, which will be existing in our sky a little bit longer than this full moon. I was going to say, just chill out on your desires, learn to know the limits of them, and try to find out where you're sacrificing a little bit too much, because chances are we might be doing it a little bit too much. And I know it's just for you to self-assess. So moving forward, you guys know we got Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. So this is a home transit. Shout out to everybody with Jupiter and Pisces. This is learning through our imagination and adding more meaning to our dreams or imagination, or what we're able to create in the ethereal realms. So we'll talk more about that. We got about 4 months before it hits Aries. Right now, we do have Pluto, quintile, Chiron. So this is finding creative ways to heal and advance on your spiritual journey. And that sounds really cool, and it is really cool. This could be you deliberately finding cool ways to advance or heal and initiate higher levels of consciousness, but this also might be you falling into various methods of escapism that are very creative and constructive, because this is like Capricorn energy. We've got Chiron in Aries, we've got Pluto in Capricorn as well. So once you realize how you're fucking up your life, you might realize how creatively you manifested the teaching circumstance for yourself, you know. I believe we've all been there, but, you know, we might not all know that. So without further ado, let's talk about the rising signs. We're going to start with Cancer rising, because this full moon will happen within your first house. So before I talk about anybody's rising signs, I just want you to understand that this full moon is happening at 27-degree Cancer. So you want to look within your natal chart before you really like get this breakdown. Look for where you have 27-degree Cancer in your chart, because let's say you were a 29-degree Cancer rising, you would have this full moon in your 12th house of your Placidus chart, okay? So just keep that in mind. So without further ado, we're going to talk to the people who have first house full moon, aka Cancer rising. This is going to be the need for personal transformation, because we have a full moon, a full amount of energy that's going to need to be released and waned out at the end of this cycle in the first house of personality, self, and characteristics. So for new energy to come in, you're going to have to let some things go. So this is going to be self-assessment for you for sure, but you'll see this also in the realm of your relationships with the Sun and Pluto in your 7th house. You'll be able to see, generally speaking, what boundaries and limits you need to employ with the people that you associate with, so you can actually hold yourself in a more higher esteem. And you'll be able to see this based on insecurity or uncomfortability within your personal interests and personal life. Certain things that you might want to do, or things that bring you comfort as a Cancer rising, things you care about, partners or friends or associates, or even people that are like low-key your enemies holding you back from this shit, you know? So it's up to you to set the fucking boundaries and earn your peace back. This is taking power and control back from relationships as a Cancer rising. And on top of that, you guys know I just broke down a shit ton of aspects, so you could look at where all these aspects fall inside of your chart, because that's the theme, and you may see a full moon scenario in your first house, okay? So 2nd house, Gemini rising, this is a value change or money makeover, because you got new energy coming into your 2nd house. This is Sun and Pluto in the 8th house, and this is pretty cool because Pluto fucks with the 8th house, you know, it's home here. So this is making better investments with money, habits, and people that you spend your time with, because you spend more things than just money, your time and energy. Keep that in mind. Taking control over fear. Your 8th house is about your desires, or the things that you do because you wish to avoid certain other things. So you see your fears in the 8th house too, right? 8th house is your shared investments, your resources, things that are risked. privacy as well. So for you to really take control over fears, like the Sun and Pluto in the 8th would suggest you doing, it's going to involve you letting out insecurity when it comes to your values, when it comes to money, security, or possessions. Somebody listening to this as a Gemini rising needs to understand that it may just be the feeling that you're not good enough, and insecurity about your own goodness or self-value in your 2nd house that may be holding you back or creating different power struggles within your 8th house, you know, the different relationships that seem to hold you back or give you a shitty return on your investment. You might not value yourself enough, so therefore you let that shit happen. So take control over your fear and have some, I'm gonna say this a couple times to multiple different people tonight, but like have some self-respect for yourself. I know you probably have some, but you could always have more. So once you have more self-respect, you will set different limits and have different boundaries outside of you. So for Taurus rising, this is 3rd house full moon, generally speaking, changing the way you communicate or choosing different associates, because your 3rd house deals with communication, the people and the places that you see every day, like in your immediate surroundings. So with the Sun and Pluto in the 9th house, this is going to say destroying limiting beliefs, taking control over your philosophies, morals, and ideas, connecting with your higher self and building more faith and confidence in your ideologies. So that's pretty cool. But again, keep in mind, if you're a Taurus rising and have the full moon going on in your 3rd house, the only thing that could hold you back from building more confidence and faith in your journey is insecurity about your ideas or your own ability to understand or communicate your ideas to yourself or to other people, or your ability to communicate with your higher self in the universe in general. So easier said than done, but it's like every rising sign, every one of us through this full moon in Cancer should work on paying attention to insecurities and taking authority over our emotions. So I'm just going to kind of pause right now, remind you what this is about, and we'll keep going. So I say that to every person because it's, again, a full moon in Cancer. This happens every year, so just be mindful of it, okay? So, 2, take control over your beliefs and connect with your higher self. You need to change the way you think and communicate. Pretty self-explanatory, but that's what's going on for the Taurus rising. So, Aries rising or anybody with the full moon happening in their 4th house of their natal chart. This is going to be pretty meta because this is Cancer in the 4th house, right? So, Cancer's home. So we're confronting insecurity, coming closer or separating with close friends and family, setting goals and taking control of your status, okay? So when you have the home, the moon in the home of home, the 4th house, right? This deals with your emotions. It deals with your comfort, your security. It deals with privacy, family members, close friends, people that know your emotions and privacy, people that maybe even have been in your bedroom. Generally speaking, if you look at like the people you know and associate with, the way you can tell somebody's in your 4th house as opposed to like your 7th or 11th is like, have they been in your bedroom? Have they been over to your house? Do they know your mom and dad? You know, have they seen your brother, sister? Do they know your aunts and uncles? You know, those people that, you know, like you went to school with or have seen you in a lot of private moments, connected with your emotions. Those are 4th house people, okay? So whenever you are letting out insecurities or feelings within your 4th house, what this means is you see the Sun and the Pluto in the 10th house in this full moon. So generally speaking, you're going to want to take control over your own emotions and how you feel about yourself, but also how you're seen and how you see yourself, because it's 10th house, your status, your career, your calling. And generally speaking, this is the time for Aries rising or anybody with the 4th house full moon to really be able to see and feel whether their family members or close friends really fuck with them and support them or not, you know? So generally speaking, if your friends and close family 4th house is able to see you as you want to be seen, they appreciate you for your goals and they support you for your goals, this would be a time for you to come closer in the 4th house, you know? But if they don't want to see you for what you are or what you aspire to be, or your friends and family are jealous haters, it's probably one of those times where you start to distance yourself and separate from these people because you require more emotional security, right? So you can't allow even your motherfucking family members to make you feel insecure, ashamed, or guilty for having aspirations. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And as an Aries rising, you damn sure won't have that because you're a leader. And man, fuck that, man. You're not going to let your own family or friends be your opposition, you know? Easier said than done because it's going to challenge any insecurities you have about connection or privacy or the closeness with these people, and they can also maybe hold over the past, hold the past over you. You know, that's the challenge with this. So I said this on live the other night with TikTok, but if you are Aries going through this full moon and you have family that doesn't appreciate you and doesn't treat you right, I encourage you to pick your battles and try to negotiate. I went to this one bookstore this week and I didn't buy this book, but I read the spine of it. So if anyone's read the book, let me know if it's good. But the spine did it for me, the title. It said, in business as well as relationships, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And I'm just like, whoo, you know? So like if your parents and friends or whatever has treated you so bad and fucked up the Libra scale, you know, you might feel and see in the 10th house Pluto that you want to make it equal immediately. But if your parents won't have that shit, you know, maybe accept just a little bit, a small gain, so you can start to work on the equilibrium. See what you can negotiate, you know, by you taking control over your status, setting goals, and then maybe having to distance yourself or create closeness in a more valid way. So, shit, dude, I mean, like, it's probability. You could say this for any transit, but it's like we know in this full moon in Cancer, there's going to be some arguments with family members, you know, just because high emotions and people are close and they got to express them, you know, it's Cancer moon. So let's move on to Pisces, or if you have 5th house full moon, this is going to be expanding your creativity in a fun or meaningful way. Your friends or associates may be limiting your expansion, okay, because you have the sun and Pluto in your 11th house of your chart, okay? So I say your friends and associates could be the ones that are limiting your fun and creativity and ability to express yourself or chase your own amusement, but also it could really be your own ideals or wishes and aspirations and worldview about people that could be making certain Pisces risings want to isolate or feel like ashamed of how they create and express themselves, because there's a lot of keywords I could give you for 5th house. You know, you will see your creativity, fun, and joy through your 5th house, but you'll see it through everything that you amuse yourself with as well. It also bleeds into your relationships and the way that you socialize with your friends too, because it's a sextile to your 7th too. So generally speaking, we're letting energy out of the 5th house because the full moon is here. So any insecurities will deal with self-expression. This is going to be issues of shame, guilt, or resentment to oneself coming up for these people. So it could be a circumstance like your friends and associates want you to party and hang out all the time and express and have fun with them a certain way. But because you feel ashamed, guilty, or not good enough to set boundaries, you just want to like do it all the time and hang out with them, even though you might really want to truthfully spend time alone, you know, or do something else. You just don't really want to say no because you're scared of people not liking you for having your own interests. Because generally speaking, if you are a Pisces rising, you are pretty sensitive, pretty empathic, and like to connect with others, you know. So fun is generally in your nature, depending on where your Saturn is. We could talk about that, but to have more meaningful fun is really the essence of this full moon, to let out any issues of guilt or insecurity about what you desire to create or the way that you wish to will yourself into existence. So this is going to challenge any friends or associates that you have around you that may expect you to have fun or express or associate and be amused by certain things. Or it could be, again, your worldview and your ideologies or certain wishes and aspirations, 11th house goals that are holding you back from creating the meaningful things, you know. This could manifest as a lot of escapism. You know, a lot of people, everyone does something different with their insecurity energy, right? So 6th house, this is going to be the Aquarius risings. The need for better habits, job, or health. Take control of your dreams. Be mindful of self-sabotage. This is your 12th house, Sun and Pluto, okay? So you're going to be letting out energy in the house of health, routine, schedule, physical body. That's why I said health. This could be your service and contribution that you're making to the world. You might be fed the fuck up with your job, you know, or there might be certain health issues that have been needing to be addressed, but based on emotional health, this may be indicated by what your body signals to you. I'm not going to give anybody a disempowering prediction like you're going to have something negative happen to your health, but generally speaking, full moon in the 6th house is going to say that the energy that surfaces up through your emotions will be indicative and predicated on what your physical health is like, right? So this is for better or for worse. This could be the time when your body gives you the green flags and you've never felt better, you know, but also this could be a time when, I mean, you want to employ the mind over matter principle. Full moon in the sixth house, generally speaking, wherever you feel negative emotions, it's going to tell you some sort of like, wherever you feel the physical ailment is going to show you the emotions that need to be worked on, is the way I meant to say that. Because we've talked so many videos on this channel, y'all. If you haven't seen them, I recommend you scroll through and watch like the different levels of the aura, clearing energy, etc. But your physical is connected to the emotional, mental, etc. So when you feel something in the physical, it's showing you the emotional counterpart. So that's something to be aware of as an Aquarius rising. That being said, if this bleeds over to the area of your job, the service and contribution and things that you're doing every day, this is going to say Sun and Pluto in your 12th is going to want you to take control over your dreams, want you to do something different with your life. That could be the most massive, high magnitude way you'd see this play out as an Aquarius rising. But also this could just be you wanting to take better care of yourself and you getting out of some certain habits, hobbies, or forms of escapism that are really ways to make up for your lack of contribution that you want to make, you know? I think I went into a slight digression, and it's not even a real digression at this point, but talking about Neptune, it's like, how do you use your Neptune energy as an Aquarius rising? You know, are you using it to connect to that longing in a way that isn't very purposeful? This would manifest as you being fed up with your sixth house, you hating your fucking job, or you being unhealthy or not happy because of the way that you live your life, right? So be mindful of self-sabotage. And if you find when you're doing it, you're mindful of it and aware of it, stop fucking doing that. Create, I said, the need for better habits, job, or health. So pretty simple. And I mean, that's practical advice we could all take. So just, if the shoe fits, wear it. Capricorn rising, 7th house, full moon, relationship transformation. This is improving your status through personal changes, taking power and authority over your interest and personality. Self-assessment. Generally speaking, if you're Cap rising, you've had the sun going through your first house damn near all month. So this has been a month of self-assessment and learning about thyself and being able to see yourself in a logical way. So it's interesting because like on live while I was breaking this down, I had mentioned like, you know, if you want to make personal changes in yourself, you're going to want to like address inefficiencies and inadequacies or mistakes. And a couple of the Cap risings were like, no, I don't even use that language. You know, you don't even see them as mistakes. You know, you just see the world outside of you and the things that you care about in your 7th house. And then your obstacles as far as who you need to be that person or acquire those things. You have a pretty common sense approach to your life. But with this energy of self-assessing yourself, pretty meta, having Pluto in the first house, it's time to take power and control over your life and take authority over who you want to be. And this would manifest, really, the only thing holding you back is insecurity about relationships and insecurities about the world outside of you. You feeling like you aren't safe or aren't powerful enough to really live the life of your own design. So just like Cancer rising, appropriate boundaries within yourself and your relationships is really the best way to balance a full moon in the first 7th house axis. So take power and control over yourself. Sagittarius rising, this is full moon in the 8th house. So this is going to be the need for new desires, better habits, and investments. Take control, Sun and Pluto, over finances and resources, 2nd house. Have some respect for yourself because the moon, this is going to be an intense full moon, I'm not going to lie. For a Sag rising or an 8th house full moon in their chart, the moon falls in the 8th house, right? So this is the moon going through your house of desires, investments, securities, death, and rebirth. Moon is all about comfort, security. It loves 2nd house where it's got all its needs met and it's stable, right? So they're both fixed, but this is fixed water. So it's fixated on emotions. So this could be you having your moon way too stuck on fears. You might be too insecure about things that you're afraid of. You know, you might have certain habits, indulgences, or desires, because this is your 8th house, that are based on what you're acting on and what you're doing unconsciously. Sun and Pluto, 2nd house. The things that pleasure you, stimulate you, or give you some sense of fulfilling or self-preservation. This could be bad fucking habits, you know? So it's really a good time for anybody to address them, but especially when you got the full moon going through your 8th house, because Every year you're going to have an 8th house full moon. That's important to know. Have some respect for yourself. So I'm not judging you. I know that sounds so judgy for a Leo Mercury to say it that way, but it's like when you look at the habits and the things that you do behind closed doors privately, and maybe the things you don't tell a damn person, you probably already judge some of these things as a lack of self-respect. So it's time to choose better habits and choose better desires, and just look at your resources and where you're investing and spending those things. You could be spending money on bullshit. You could be spending time and energy on bullshit. It's probably the latter, but maybe all three. So if you know better, do better, period. Scorpio rising, 9th house, full moon. This is going to be the need to change beliefs or increase your faith. Take control over your mind and your ideas. Communicate your understanding. So the full moon is in your 9th house. Any insecurity is going to be predicated on the realm of beliefs or conscious ideologies, things that you think are true. The only thing that can hold you back is yourself or the higher self, you know. I know we can get exaggerated when we say, like, you know, you create your reality and you create everything that happens to you, but it's like we're all collectively doing it at the same time. So it's not a digression. You know, there's limits to reality because it's based on agreement. So you want to be mindful of how you express your ideas to yourself, you know, with Pluto being in your 3rd house of communication and mentality, but also surroundings and friends and associates and relatives, neighborhood, stuff like that. There could be different fears that you have about your beliefs or different fears about spirituality. This sounds very oblique, but I said this on live. I want to say I know some Scorpio risings will lose their religion during this full moon because the insecurity that you had to hold you in a dogmatic religion will become too much for you to hold on to in the 9th house. So you're going to, by default, take power and control over your 3rd house and create an ideology or an idea that doesn't need you to worship a demon, a warship, you know, a ship that's taking war, esoterically speaking, on different spirits. So just saying, somebody needs to wake the fuck up. So other than that, if you're not dogmatic and religious, this is going to say having confidence in your ideas and just having faith in yourself. And this may manifest as also relationship dynamics, with this being Venus retrograde for everybody, right? So it could be you choosing to stop spending time with certain people within your surroundings and neighborhood because you have different beliefs in them. 3rd house, 9th house. So if I'm pointing in different directions a lot, I'm looking at the chart. I've looked at so many charts. I just kind of see circles and wheels everywhere. But that's what I'm doing with the gestures, right? There's 3rd house down here, 9th house up here. So you might not want to fuck with Sally, Joe, and Bob because they believe X, Y, and Z. You know, when you experience this, you live your life like this, and you might just ask questions like, how the fuck could these people in my neighborhood justifiably do this with their morality? You know, we all form different opinions or whatever. So this might be the time as a Scorpio rising for you to change the people you associate with because of the way that your beliefs are orchestrated, because you're done being insecure about what the fuck you stand for, you know, your 9th house, right? So 10th house, full moon, Libra rising. This is the need for new goals or an improved status. Confront insecurity, organize private life, and take authority over your emotions. Very meta, just like the Aries rising, right? Because this is Sun and Pluto in the 4th, and we got that full moon in the 10th, right? So the thing is, generally speaking, like I said, you need new goals. It's going to be this want or desire to have an improved status. And really the only thing that could hold you back, again, is insecurity or your desire not to show emotions is really the vibe I'm getting. This is like Capricorn moon energy because it's moon going through your 10th house, right? So you want to think about you maybe not wanting to ask for help because you don't want to be seen as emotional. You don't really want to express these emotions in a way because they may not be seen as practical or making sense. So take your time to express yourself. I know we got Mercury square Uranus, so you know, you might just want to shout right now and tell all your friends and family members that they aren't really helping you with your goals. But again, if you're not asking for help, not taking control over your emotions and how people close see you and feel you and whatever, it might be your MF fault, you know. So Sun is in that 4th house, Pluto's in the 4th house. It's time to take control over your different emotions. And this is kind of similar to what I said with Aries being the exact opposite, in the sense that you might have friends, family, close people in your life that know you very privately or maybe from the past that are the ones holding you back from your goals, ambitions, or status. So it may be time to distance yourself from a motherfucker. And maybe even cut somebody off. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just use your best judgment as a Libra rising, you know, because we're given judgment to use it, you know, and don't be so goddamn nice that you don't use it. So nice that you are mean to yourself because you want to spare other people's emotions at the expense of your own. Doesn't make any fucking sense, because your 10th house can only be as strong as your 4th house, you know. The tower needs a foundation to stand on. So if you have this need for an improved status or to be seen differently, you're going to have to take control over your emotions and the people that see you privately in the 4th house. And I know that sounds dangerous and maybe too much, so let me elaborate. When I say take control over it, I mean boundaries. I'm saying you telling friends and family members what you stand for and what you don't stand for. Part of me might be you saying, hey, you don't fucking get to treat me this way. You don't get to talk to me this way. Or it's like, hey, I have goals and aspirations, and just because you're my mom and dad doesn't mean that you can fucking shit on my goals and be my opposition. You're going to shut the fuck up and leave me alone, or you're going to help me, you know, or we're just going to distance ourselves from each other, you know. But like I said, with the Aries rising also, this could be the time when you come closer to friends and family as well, because if they get over their own insecurities about your power and potential, you know, they won't be the type to project fear and weight and doubt to your cloud. You know, they'll be the one to lift it up and exalt it up in the 10th house, so you can be seen for exactly what the fuck you want to be seen for, right? You know, to have the support. So let's talk about Virgo rising, 11th house full moon, if this is where you have it. Need for new friends, associates, and wishes. Taking control over your creativity, fun, and amusement. Sun and Pluto, 5th house, full moon, 11th house, right? So the thing is, the only thing that can hold you back from experiencing all your desires, your fun, your amusement, and creating things in your life is going to be your friends, the people you spend time with, the people you associate, rub shoulders with, the different organizations you're included in, or it's going to manifest as the beliefs and worldview and ideals that you have, maybe even goals too. So look for insecurity regarding friendship, association, collaboration, contribution in general. Check your Uranus energy is the vibe I'm getting. Like, see if there's any way that insecurity is holding you back from truly expressing who the fuck you are, because the 5th house and the 11th house is the axis of will. It's Leo, Aquarius, right? So this is about what are you willing into existence for the betterment of everybody once you truly connect those two and synthesize them, you know? So take control over your fun, creativity, and amusement. And again, this is going to be same for the Pisces risings. You're going to need to watch for any issues of escapism that may manifest from shame, guilt, or resentment of oneself. Issues of the solar plexus are that, you know, shame or expressing yourself in a less dignified way, right? So this may manifest as you choosing the wrong friends because, you know, you have different like wishes or goals or different aspirations that you might not feel comfortable or secure about. Again, the moon might be flunked the fuck out in the 11th house, right? Shout out to Dolo. If you guys watch him, you know what's going on. But, you know, you might have beliefs about people that need to be addressed. So therefore that bleeds into why you socialize with certain people in a certain way. But what are you creating? What's fun and what's amusing? For you, your Capricorn constellation is within your 5th house. So sometimes you don't even really want to like create or experience certain things unless it makes sense. So at this point, you want to watch out for seeing your reality for what it is and attaching it to other people so they can actually get on board with you and you can have an organization and an association. So I know this might sound like my Mercury's trailing off, but really you want to build an organization if you're a Virgo rising. And you may resonate with this if you're not one, but organize your personal life, your own creativity, and the things that you do for your fun and amusement. Then you'll be able to find like-minded individuals who do that as well. You know, and the more you spend time with these people, again, the need for new friends, associates, or wishes, if you find like-minded individuals, it'll be able to add to your sense of fun, amusement, and creativity. And teamwork makes the dream work, so it's really important to find those that are like you, you know, so you can add willpower to each other and help each other grow rather than slowing each other down. So this is Leo ascendant, moon in the 12th house. So what's really interesting about the 12th house full moon is that all of us will resonate with this subconsciously. So even if you're not a Leo rising, this is something that you are going to experience, broadly speaking. But for the Leo risings, the full moon in your 12th house is going to be the need for new dreams or imagination. Taking control over your habits, schedule, routine, or building up a new skill or service. Taking your health more seriously with Pluto and the sun in the 6th house. So insecurity that you may experience at this time may be confronted in the realm of dreams, imagination, the things that you want to create that are worth suffering and sacrificing for. This is your Neptune energy again, right? So any belief about you being unable to truly manifest your dreams is going to need to be challenged at this point. And the easiest way you do that with the sun and the Pluto planet in the 6th house is for you to choose better habits, choose better actions, and organize your time and schedule better. Because the 6th house is what you do all day with your time, and what you choose to do every day will become habitual, and your habits will create your life over time. And you'll reinforce these habits with emotions, different ideas, and then this becomes an intrameme, and you can read about that. So generally speaking, the way you become the person you want to be is by the things that you do every single day. That's facts. So take your health more seriously and look at the things that you do every single day, and then see if they're aligned with the dreams that you have, and see if any of your actions, habits, rituals, or routines are thin masks for insecurity that prevent you from achieving your goals or dreams. See where you're sabotaging yourself by negative habits and desires. And Jordan Peterson says this so eloquently, so I'm going to try to pull it in verbatim, but he said, the question to ask yourself, generally speaking, is like, what completely irresponsibly stupid thing are you doing every single day to screw up your life? And that's an invasive and very personal question to ask yourself, right? So, it may be looking at your phone for 12 hours. It might be all that 8th house shit that the Sag rising won't talk about. It could be a whole shit ton of things, so we don't got to get into it. It's already about 50 minutes, but take our health more seriously, build a skill or vocation or service that benefits others or is conducive to the service and contribution you wish to provide for the world. So that's really it. That's all I have for you guys for this full moon. Enjoy it. It's going to be really important and meaningful in my opinion. I know we have a Cancer full moon every single year, but it's not always a full moon opposite Pluto. So get excited, have fun with it. This is a good time to take power and control over your emotions, and this will help you build your status. Like I said, the 10th house can only be as solid as the 4th house is. So I hope you guys take care of yourself, have fun. If you don't have my astrology book yet, hit the link in the bio or go to simplifiedastrology.com. Pick up Simplified Astrology Volume 1. There's less than 200 first editions left, so make sure you guys get your hands on a copy. After these 200 are gone, there's not going to be any more, so make sure you get one of the first editions. I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for tuning in to the full moon breakdown. If you're still here, smash that like button, leave me a comment, and make sure you hit the links and stay tuned for the next video, next live. We're going to keep on going. Like I said, we're going to be more consistent this year. So I love you guys. Blessed be, blessed we, times 3, and I'll see you guys soon.